This is Jessica Martinez, and you're listening to the Pumping Podcast. Hey there, mamas. I am here to share with you a special bonus episode. In this episode, I am interviewing the founder and director of Hypnobabies. If you've never heard of Hypnobabies before, it is a complete childbirth education course along with so much more. I am attaching a link to the website and more information in the show notes, so make sure you check that out. But in this interview, you will get all of your questions answered, I promise. And if you're anything like me, you may just get hooked. Make sure you listen all the way through to the end also, because there is an extra special surprise just for our listeners. Here we go. Today, I am speaking with Kerry Tuschhoff, the founder and director of Hypnobabies. Thank you so much for taking time out of your super busy, I believe, schedule to chat with me. I'm truly honored.
I'm very happy to be here, Jessica. It is my life's passion to help moms have better births.
I'm so excited to hear about this. So first of all, before we get started, where is it that you're joining us from?
I'm in Southern California.
And that's where your main office is, correct?
Yes, our admin office is here, and we have instructors all over the US, some in Canada, Germany, Australia,
Oh my
the
goodness,
ones that
that's
teach
amazing.
the live classes.
That's great. So just so everybody knows, I first heard of you and Hypnobabies through one of my closest friends. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she didn't hear of you till after her first birth. And I know she was wishing that she had heard of you before then, but she was very grateful with her second baby to have learned of Hypnobabies and practiced it. And I know now it's definitely a part of her lifestyle. And so before we dive in to everything, just give us a quick explanation for those who may not have ever heard of it before. What is Hypnobabies in a nutshell?
Well, Hypnobabies is a complete childbirth education course that teaches somnambulistic, somnambulistic medical grade hypnosis to our young families so that they can enjoy childbirth much more. It's actually amazing how powerful the mind is. And so our moms practice their hypnosis every day for several months. And then when they're in their birthing, which is what we call labor, they actually use these techniques, kind of like programming in something into a computer. And then later on, you need that program and you just push a button and there it is. So the subconscious mind literally gets retrained during those few months. And the mom is able to use a few cues and techniques, and they work really well during the time that she needs them in her birthing.
That sounds amazing. And before, I have so many questions that we'll get into, but of course, a lot of moms plan on having a natural birth, but then different situations happen, and for whatever reason, they're unable to actually have a natural birth. Is this something that no matter what the circumstance, it can still be useful, or is it mainly geared toward natural birth?
Well, amazingly, we have a lot of moms who do Hypnobabies because uh, they just want a better birthing. So there's a certain amount of people who come into it, maybe 50%, who say, I definitely want an unmedicated birth. And they'll use their Hypnobabies techniques and be able to go without, the epidural or without drugs. And then there's a lot of people who say, well, I definitely don't know what I want. I just want a better birthing. So they use Hypnobabies, and oftentimes they're very surprised that they didn't need that epidural that they were thinking they might need, or drugs, because they've practiced these hypnosis techniques. It's literally retrain that part of their brain um, to perceive the birthing sensations as more of a pressure type of feeling, more like when a blood pressure cuff inflates on your arm, a
Right.
lot of pressure like that. And of course, this is when Hypnobabies is learned, practiced, and used as directed. So I just need to put that in there because we do have moms who feel like maybe they're sister or their friend, gave them the tracks, and they're just going to listen to a few tracks and pick and choose the ones that they like and practice those. And it doesn't work that way at all.
Right.
Hypnobabies is a complete program and has to be practiced, learned and practiced, and then used the way that we direct you to for the best results.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. So, to take it back a little bit, and then we'll come back to some more questions about Hypnobabies. So, you are not a new mom, but you still are a mom, right?
That's correct.
So, if you could go ahead and take us back, I like to do this with all of my guests. So, go ahead and take us back to what life was like before you became a mom.
Well, I had a friend when I was first married from church who was having her babies naturally, and I was fascinated. She had taken the Bradley method classes, and she said, I didn't even know people did birth without an epidural. Um, but she said, yeah, it hurts like crazy. But I wanted to do it without drugs, and I did it. And so I was fascinated. I contacted the Bradley people, and even though you're supposed to be a Bradley mom in order to go on and be an instructor for them, they allowed me to take their training course and learn to teach Bradley classes. And I was hooked. I was fascinated with the entire process of pregnancy and birth. And so I started teaching the Bradley method, and then I got pregnant for the first time.
And now, how was it to teach something that you have never experienced before? Was that difficult?
I was so much a birth junkie that it didn't feel it didn't feel strange at all teaching people about childbirth when I had never been pregnant or had a baby. But the amazing thing is that I thought I knew everything about having a natural birth, as a Bradley instructor. And it's a great program, by the way. It gave me a fantastic education in nutrition and exercise and staying healthy and low risk and relaxation techniques and all of that. But when I went into labor, I was in so much pain. I was screaming my head off. I had nothing but relaxation techniques to help me. And my baby was posterior, which adds a level of intensity to childbirth because the back of their head is pretty much grinding on your spine and all the nerves down there, all the way down and out. So I was shocked. I was completely shocked at the intensity of it. And it took me, I actually had postpartum depression because of it, and PTSD and all of that. But 4 years later, when I went to give birth to my son, my second child, I didn't have, it was the first labor was 36 hours, so it was a lot.
Wow.
The second one was only 7, but it was just as painful. He was posterior as well, and I was screaming, just screaming in agony.
And now you
So,
hadn't been able to use, or you didn't find that the techniques you learned through the Bradley method, you were able to use them and that helped you? It wasn't
well,
enough?
I think deep relaxation can only take you so far when you want more comfort in childbirth. Um, so I used what I could and, tried to relax through these excruciating posterior birthing waves, which is what we call contractions.
Mm.
Um, but anyway, the thing that was important about that birthing was that I had just gone through a really excruciating birthing wave, and my sister was holding my hands, my husband was pressing on my back. And when it was over and I was just, dazed from the pain, I looked up into my sister's tear-stained face, and she said, "It should never have to be this hard."
Mm.
And it's like a light bulb went on over my head. And I just went, you're absolutely right. Just to have a baby without drugs should never have to be this hard. And I realized I was going to go on, whether I had another child or not, and I didn't, and find a way that other women who wanted natural birth or who just wanted a better birth um, could have one without all of this pain. And I did. I went and started researching and found hypnosis for childbirth. And I initially trained with another program, a hypnobirth program, and there wasn't very much hypno in the birthing. So I went and became a hypnotherapist and studied a program called Gerald Kine's Painless Childbirth Program, which is actually a program for hypnotists, hypnotherapists to use one-on-one in their offices with pregnant women. And I asked Gerald Kine, who was the master hypnotist who created that program, if it was okay if I used it or parts of it in an actual childbirth education program. And he said, you go, do it. And I can't wait to see what you create. So I took a lot of his concepts, added a lot, and then created Hypnobabies to be a complete childbirth education program because that's also an important factor. The moms should get their childbirth education in full at the same place that they get their birth hypnosis, so that all of the philosophies and all of the language that we use, and there's quite a bit of different language that's all geared towards being super positive, can be in alignment. And the rest is history.
That's so cool that you were in the heat of it, literally, and this light bulb went off and that ended up being your inspiration. That's really amazing.
Well, I think if I'd had easy births, we would not be having this discussion.
Absolutely. Yeah. You never really know why you go through certain things, but I guess it was worth it to a certain extent.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I almost feel honored that I went through that because it taught me so much, really. Even as a Bradley instructor after my first birthing, before that birthing, and this is super important for people to hear. Before that birthing, I was all into everybody should have natural childbirth. Everybody should go unmedicated. There's no other way. Just stick it out, just gut it out. And after that first birth, because I ended up from the birth center after 26 hours at the birth center, I ended up at a hospital and had an epidural. And I was never so glad in my life as I was of anything than to see that anesthesiologist with those drugs and needles coming at me, because I would have done anything to get out of that pain.
Right.
So after that, I was 100% in the camp that each mom understands 100% what her own birthing experience needs to be. And she will plan it and execute it the way that she needs it. And I honor and respect that.
And so, from your point of view, what is the kind of general view of what it would look like to have a baby utilizing this Hypnobabies? Do you call it a technique or method?
Um, well, it's a program. Um, so it's full of cues and techniques and yeah, the medical grade hypnosis.
So,
So
does that start at pregnancy or even before, or does it start a month before labor? How does that look to a mom who says, "Okay, I'm on board. I want this experience." When does that start? When does that end?
well, our moms generally start when they're maybe 28 to 30 weeks pregnant.
Oh, okay. So on the latter end.
Oh, well, because you can start before that, and every single day there is hypnosis to practice, which means basically listening to hypnosis and affirmations audio tracks. So if you're 16 weeks pregnant and you want to do that all the way until your baby comes every single day, that's great. The optimum time to do it is 28 to 30 weeks. The course is 6 weeks long, meaning you learn the techniques throughout that 6 weeks, because each week we add things and the mind has to have enough time in between the adding of the new thing to the next one in order to absorb and assimilate it, so you practice.
Right, to let it sink in and become part of your everyday type of thing.
Well, yeah, and part of your subconscious. And so then after that, they want to just go on what we call maintenance, which is that there is a specific schedule of specific hypnosis tracks to listen to until your baby comes. And then we have ones that you listen to while you're having your baby that keep you in hypnosis and much more comfortable. So it's an entire program, and it needs to be learned, practiced, and used as directed.
And is this something that you find a wide array of women choose, or do you find it to be on the younger spectrum, or who usually chooses Hypnobabies?
Oh my goodness, what a great question. We have women of all kinds, and women actually all over the world that are doing this because we have a self-study course. So it's been used for, I guess, 18 years now, all over the world. Moms who are young, moms who are not so young, everyone is pretty much using it. And, you know, one thing that I will say for the younger set, this is an adult education course. So while some people are not as used to needing to read as much information as there is in Hypnobabies, it is well worth the time, energy, and love to do so because your final result is pretty powerful. Your final exam is going to be, where you see what your results are of reading. And there is a decent amount of reading in Hypnobabies because we do teach you what and why and where and when to do all of the hypnosis, but also nutrition, how to stay healthy and avoid, certain substances that aren't good for mom and baby, prenatal exercise, the stages of birthing, new mom and baby care. Hypnobabies is a complete course, but all of it works together.
Wow. And so, what does that actual birthing experience look like with somebody who's practicing the program of Hypnobabies? What should you expect as a mom?
Well, we have a lot of moms whose birthing goes much faster than they ever thought it would. So they have to really look for different kinds of signs, for their birthing, which means that their birthing waves would be coming closer, stronger, longer, and closer together, sooner than they thought. But other moms, not so much. And whatever each person's birthing pattern is fine. But they would start out by listening to a recording that is 14 minutes long, and it's called Your Birthing Time Begins. And it's basically me reminding our Hypnobabies students what wonderful tools they have, how to use them, and really how to stay in the mindset that this is all going to go very, very well. So then they listen to birthing affirmations, and those are one-line affirmations that really start them off so positively and really still in the positive mindset that this is my birthing day and my hypnosis keeps me comfortable, and it goes on and on. And then there are certain hypnosis tracks that they can choose from. One of them is the most powerful one. It's 50 minutes long, and I can listen to it as many times as they like. And it basically uses all of the cues and techniques that they have been learning and practicing. It deepens their hypnosis and gives them suggestions as well for working with the people who are their birth team in a very successful, positive way, and blocking out things that don't work for them. And it's very, very powerful. But there are other ones that they can choose from as well. We have a fear clearing session, and that really helps moms to start out their birthing by releasing fears, concerns, maybe control issues. Some people want their baby born at a certain time or a certain day, or they make sure we get all the way to midnight so it won't be Aunt Susie's birthday.
My goodness.
I know. So there are a lot of tools for our Hypnobabies moms to choose from, including what we call the change of plans. And that means that if something doesn't go according to their birthing plan, which happens,
Right.
they still have a hypnosis script that can be used to help them to work with that.
Yeah, that was one of my questions too, thinking, well, now what happens when all of a sudden, something comes about and your doctor says we have to have a C-section or we have to do XYZ, and how do you navigate that when you're in this position that's supposed to be so, you know, calm and present? How do you navigate that? But that's wonderful that you have that available.
It's a great question because our moms are able to handle anything calmly, and it might be just something simple like a mom really, really, really didn't want an IV, but it becomes necessary. And so they're still able to use hypnosis to stay calm so that their veins won't go flat and they can, help the process along. But it could be something as intense as needing a C section when that was definitely not the plan. And they've got their change of plans script as well. And that way they're able to see the positives in whatever choices that they're making that deviates from their original birth plan. And that's a very important part of any birth hypnosis program. There should be something to help people with a change of plans.
Absolutely.
So they've got these cues and techniques in their tracks, in their hypnosis tracks, but they can also use them just inside their head, or their birth partner or hypno doula can say them to them, and it will instantly relax them and instantly help them to direct their hypno anesthesia wherever they need it in their body, even if it's their back or their head or their arm for an IV to be put in or anything like that.
They can specify it in that area of their body. That's really cool.
Yes.
So now, for somebody like myself who's completely ignorant to this whole idea and just hypnosis in general, I'm thinking back to when I was in high school. I think the only experience I've ever had with hypnosis is back in high school when, you have that guy come in for the magic show or whatever it is for homecoming week or something, and they bring up all of your friends on stage and they supposedly hypnotize them and make them do all crazy things, and everyone just laughs. And half of the time you think that your friends are just, making it up or whatever. So to those people who have never heard of this before, and myself included, who kind of think like, oh, I don't want to say that this is a scam, but kind of think like, oh, what is this all about? I don't know if this really works. What do you say to that type of a person who's this is A, frightening, and B, just so unknown and foreign to them?
Wow. So, such a great question. Well, it's interesting to note that we're in states of hypnosis all the time. So it's not foreign, it's not different, it's not weird, and it's not scary, it's not religious or anything. Basically, hypnosis is a state of deeply focused concentration. And what we do is we relax the body and the mind together. And in that way, the subconscious is accessed. The subconscious is a computer inside, deep inside, that actually holds on to everything that you've ever learned, experienced, said, had said to you, seen, done. And it's holding on to all of your belief systems about those things. So we're going in and we're tapping into the belief system that you've always had about childbirth, and we're literally retraining it. But in order for people to believe that it's not a scary process to do that, because it's absolutely perfectly normal to be in hypnosis, I remind them that they are in a state of hypnosis every time that they are looking at a screen, as many people are right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in a state of hypnosis anytime that we're daydreaming. If you're just sitting and thinking about Hawaii
Right.
or wherever your next vacation's going to be, you drift into a state of hypnosis. And that's just a state of deeply focused concentration. And we're in a state of hypnosis when we're waking up and when we're going to sleep. Our mind relaxes. And so we go into a state of deeply focused concentration. So we have been in hypnosis. We are in hypnosis every single day, many, many times a day. And all we're doing in Hypnobabies, or all any hypnotherapist is doing, if you go to them for a phobia or anything like that, is basically guiding it. So in Hypnobabies, we're just guiding our moms into the same state, but deeper. Our moms go into a state to create hypnoanesthesia called somnambulism. It's a very deep state, and it allows them to create this hypnoanesthesia, to direct it where they need it in their body, and then to use it during their birthing time. So it's very normal, it's very natural, it's not attached to anything weird, it's not frightening. It's just basically a normal part of the day that we are, really harnessing for having a great birthing.
And what's the difference between meditation and hypnosis?
Oh, another great question. It's what you do. So in meditation, a lot of times people will sit upright and they clear their mind. And this is a way for us all to actually regenerate, because even though people don't realize this, but I just actually saw a webinar on the brain, and our brains are a lot more active when we're not focusing, so it's trying to process. When I say active, I mean process things that we really need to process personally. And so we clear our minds in meditation. We might have a mantra that we chant over and over again that just basically helps us to not think of other things. That's what that's for. And so there are different things that people want to achieve during meditation, and they might float into a hypnotic state. In hypnosis, the way that we use it in Hypnobabies, we need to relax the body first in order to retrain the mind. So our moms need to either lay down completely in a relaxed position, or sit back in a cushy chair with pillows under their arms and their head back. And then we guide them to relax their body. And as we do, then the mind starts to relax. And when both the mind and body are relaxed, the subconscious is accessed. And because it has a little guardian called the critical faculty. So we need to make that guy take a nap.
I feel like I need that guy to take a nap all the time, and I'm not even pregnant.
Um, so we have the critical faculty take a nap by relaxing the mind and body together. And then when we've accessed the subconscious mind, all we're doing is really retraining that part of the mind to perceive these birthing sensations in a very positive way. So we'll feel pushing, pulling, stretching sensations, baby movements. We'll know when the baby's moving down. We'll know when we're opening up. But the intent is, when it's done, as directed, that there will be far less discomfort associated with it by virtue of this retraining.
Seems like there's just a ton of information and so many tools that you have put together for moms. That's really pretty wonderful.
Well, I got to tell you, it's very, very gratifying to be a part of this, knowing that so many moms have used Hypnobabies and had a better birth, because my heart goes out to those first-time moms who are scared, like, you're a first-time mom and you don't know what to expect. But if they choose Hypnobabies, they really are way a step ahead, because they're going to avoid that first awful birth.
Right.
And I say that because we have a lot of second time and beyond moms who had that first awful birth experience, and now they want something really, really much better.
Right. Well, that's, like I said, my good friend who introduced me to you, she said that exact same thing, and she felt that way exactly. That was a good run into my next question, which is, what is just the best part of running Hypnobabies on a personal level for you?
Oh my goodness. Well, we have a Facebook Hypnobabies support group on which there are about 6,500 moms right now at any given time. on the group. So I'm constantly in touch every single day. We all are. Our whole crew here at the office helps to answer questions and support and encourage these moms. But I think the best thing to me is watching them interact with each other and encourage each other and say, yeah, we're all doing something weird and different because it is. I mean, it just is different.
Yeah.
Um, so let's all support each other, and they're just there for each other 100%. And then when those birth stories show up with these beautiful births and these amazing moms who are so grateful that they found this and that they're, going to tell everyone and stuff, that's the best part for me
Yeah.
is knowing that each mom has had some sort of healing birth, because it's healing in its own way, whether if it's your first baby, because you didn't have to have that first awful birth, but it's super healing if you're a second or third time mom and you're trying for a VBAC, or you're just the first one was just so traumatic or awful or whatever, and then you have this beautiful birthing. So to me, that's just worth its weight in gold.
And for those who are listening, I just want to say as well that both myself and my friend who introduced me to Kerry and Hypnobabies has said that you, Kerry, have just been so open and able to connect and really there, as well as the rest of your team, to answer all those questions, which I think is pretty amazing for somebody who's so busy and who has created such a massive program and network of people. So that's really admirable that you are that available.
Thank you. I am on the group quite a bit. We all are, and we do field calls and private messages and emails from our moms, and we give them, personal help as well as on the group, because it's very important that each mom get what she needs.
I just have a few more questions that came in from some listeners that I wanted to make sure I just touch on quickly. The first one is, what are some ways that moms who didn't or don't birth naturally, how can they benefit from this method? I believe there are certain programs for post-birth and all of that as well, right? So how can those people benefit from this?
Well, we do have a set of audio tracks in our store that's called After Your Baby Comes. And that is a really great track that I actually just re-recorded. Um, and it helps you to relax. And by the way, when you're in a deep state of relaxation and hypnosis, it just feels so beautiful and dreamy
I bet.
and wonderful. But it gives you, as a new mom, the ability to just relax and have that special time where you're just floating away, and then some wonderful suggestions about what a great mom you are, and sleeping in sync with your baby, and being more confident about your own choices about how to raise your children and things like that. We have a breastfeeding success track that's really wonderful and is being used all over the world. We have a toddler sleepy time track, which is probably our most
Oh,
favorite
neat. For toddlers
popular
themselves?
track. It's for toddlers, and it is a little track that you play before nap time or before bedtime, and it helps them to relax and have something special to listen to that helps guide them off into dreamland.
Oh, how special
And
is that?
I know, and it does help with naps a lot, and it also helps with nighttime going to sleepness, because they wanna listen to their special track, and it says that they will sleep all night long in their own bed, whether their own bed is their bed or whether it's their parents' bed or wherever it is, they get better sleep all the way throughout the night. So it's a lot like our other track that is super popular, and that is Peaceful Sleep Now. That is for anyone, not necessarily toddlers. I would limit it to age 10 and up, but it's all about, falling asleep well and easily, staying asleep. If you're awake and going right back to sleep, having the cues to do that. And I myself listen to it every single night of my life.
That was my next question, are there ways in which you yourself currently are practicing?
Oh yes, and we have tracks for stress and anxiety. We have a track for self-confidence. We have one for focus and concentration for people who, really need to focus on projects, but they can't keep their mind focused. We have stop smoking tracks. We
Oh,
have
wow.
a weight release track set, and yeah, we one for nausea, which is very popular. Whether you're pregnant nausea or nausea or your kids got nausea or whatever, we have a lot of different tracks for basically a better life. A lot of great stuff.
That's so wonderful. So, to kind of wrap up, I usually end by asking my guests what type of a message when their children are 18 that they'd like to leave for them now, kind of as a reminder. But of course, your two children are past 18 years old. um, but I know that moms always like to share their wisdom with their children, no matter what their age. So, would you mind just sharing what is something on your heart at the moment that you would like to share with your kids right now, where they are in their lives, or even, I don't know if they have kids, but if they've gone through any birthing experiences or will in the future, what would you like to leave them with as a message?
Trust your heart, trust yourself, the feelings that you have about what is best for you. Do all the research you need to do, whether it's on the internet, with books, with friends, with experts, whatever it is you're trying to learn or do in your life at the time, and then trust your heart, because you will find that if you become quiet, and I say quiet just like a lot of us do a lot of research and we do a lot of reading, but then we want to kind of give up our choices to other people, whether it be doctors or my friend said this or I saw this on the news. And so my suggestion for anyone would be to really sit with yourself and see how it feels for you, whatever those decisions are.
And I think that can go even beyond birthing, just it's a really good lesson to just remember in life to just, if it settles well with you and your heart, then go with it no matter what that choice is. And it seems like hearing your story at that moment that you looked up at your sister, you felt that and you knew that and you didn't question it. You just went with it. And now what a unbelievable thing that you've created through that moment.
Yeah, that was an amazing moment when I look back on it, from all the things that have happened since then for so many people, because I train the Hypnobabies instructors, I train hypno doulas. I'm in touch with birth professionals, moms, and media all over the world now, and all from that moment. So I am eternally grateful for it.
I am totally sold. So I might even jump on the bandwagon before that time just to get some of those affirmations. I think that's good for anybody. And it's really cool that you've created those extra tracks as well for dads and kids and all that type of thing. It's really wonderful.
Well, thank you. And I just want to add one extra thing. Not, Hypnobabies is not about having a pain free birth, it's about having the best birth you can have. So some moms don't have a super comfortable birth because things happen during childbirth. There are many, many things that can happen during childbirth, but they do have the tools to help them have the best birth that they can have. So I don't want to provide any false hope for anybody, or say, I don't want anyone to say, well, it sounds like Hypnobabies is pain free childbirth. That's not what it's about. It's about having the best birth that you can have. And I wish that for every mom out there that's listening.
Yeah. And just giving every mom the tools that they can and setting them up for success as best as they possibly can.
They set themselves up for success. That's the amazing thing. Just by choosing Hypnobabies and sticking with it and doing the practice and then using the techniques, they amaze me. These people, these families amaze me, and they inspire me every single day.
That's so wonderful. Well, I'm really excited to announce for all the listeners who have listened all the way till the end that Kerry has been gracious enough to give us a promo code so that you're able to take advantage of that and try some of the program out. I will be adding that in the show notes and then at the end of the episode, so make sure you look that up. But Kerry, thank you so much for your time. I'm really, really grateful that you were able to share this program with us, and I hope that, like I said, I'm ready to sign up. So I'll be there when the day comes. But I hope that anybody who's curious about this, definitely go ahead and check out hypnobabies.com, and I will attach the website and all of the information along with the discount code on the show notes. But Kerry, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
You are welcome, and I'm always happy to help people have a better birthing, a better pregnancy, get pregnant, help their toddlers sleep, whatever it is. So people can call us anytime.
Hey there, mamas. Head over to the show notes where I have placed the link that can connect you right over to the Hypnobabies website. Over there, you can check out all of the classes and the tracks that Kerry and her team has put together. And Kerry was nice enough to create a special 20% off promo code just for our listeners. So if you go over there, don't forget to insert Pumping Podcast into the promo code. Thank you guys so much for listening. Now head over to the show notes to help make your pregnancy and birthing experience a much more enjoyable one. The Pumping Podcast is a podcast for moms and by moms, and I am your host. I'm not yet a mama. I'm a mama in training. If you're enjoying what you hear, please take a minute on iTunes to subscribe, rate, and review so more mamas out there can find us and listen along while they're pumping or breastfeeding. If you'd like to be a guest and share your story, email me at thepumpingpodcast@gmail.com. You can also email me if you have any questions for any of my guests, and I will reach out, get those answers, and relay them to you in a follow-up episode. A big thank you to my friends Ashley and Kelly for the use of their baby's laughter, and my dear friend Erin Adams for writing my gorgeous theme song. You can follow along on Instagram at The Pumping Podcast, and go ahead and share the podcast with a mama you know. Until next time, keep on pumping.